Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at bellisiofoods.com/careers.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV, where we are here to give you some information this morning about something that you will be voting on. I mean, you can already be voting. That's crazy. But election coming up, official election day, November 8th? 7th,
Yes.
8th, something. It's always around that time. Whatever day Tuesday falls on.
Mhm.
But no, in the studio, we have a special guest here, and we are going to give you all kind of information about something that will be affecting maybe you here in our area and in our viewing area. So welcome, and could you tell our viewers who you are?
Absolutely. Well, thank you, first of all, for having me. My name's Phil Dysard. I'm from Palmer Energy. We're the independent energy consultant for the County Commissioners Association of Ohio. So that's kind of how we got with the commissioners here in Jackson County. Currently, we work with them for their facilities, so county-owned facilities with their electric and natural gas bills, and helping to save money on that. And that kind of got us to the topic of aggregation for both electricity and natural gas.
Wow, that sounds like a whole mouthful of stuff. No, so that is really, really interesting. And so your group, Palmer Energy, could you tell us a little bit about that first, and then do you do more than just commissioner stuff and all that?
Sure, absolutely. So as I mentioned, we're the independent energy consultant for the CCAO, the County Commissioners Association.
So all
of
over
Ohio.
the state.
Correct. Yep,
Cool.
we work all over the state. We also are the independent energy consultant for the Ohio Municipal League as well. So we work with villages and cities with their energy as well. So do some of that. We also are in the commercial and industrial sector as well. So help private companies with their electric and natural gas needs. So just really working on savings for folks. And usually it's a facilities thing, but when you get to the government side of things, you're able to help the residents as well. So we help currently, I believe we're over 300 communities throughout the state now that we do aggregation in. So we've been doing it for a long time. You can go on the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio, the PUCO, the website. And if you look on there, they have dockets of all the aggregation programs and when they've started.
Okay.
And if you happen to look, I believe it's 4 out of the first 5 are clients that Palmer works with. So we've been doing this since the inception of aggregation in the state. So it's something that we've done for years, experts on it. And so it's kind of come front of mind because if you happen to look at your electric bill in the last year or so, it's been quite the increase. And so we've had a lot of work throughout the state doing new aggregation programs. Last year, I think we had 31 on the ballot, 31 initiatives.
Wow.
And, 30 of them passed. Because again, this is it's front of mind. People have seen the increase, and so that's kind of where we are with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's just be honest, we need to be selfish voters here and, vote for whatever is best for you and your household, is what I always say.
Yeah.
But okay, so you have mentioned the word aggregation now several times, and I know everybody that's listening this morning is going, what in the world is he talking about?
Sure.
And it's making a little bit more sense now because I have a property in Columbus and received a letter not too long ago about something, and I did nothing because I had no idea what they were talking about.
Right.
I think now I'm going to start understanding because you're going to explain it to us today.
Right. Yeah. That was probably an opt-out letter for aggregation in the Columbus does have a aggregation program.
Okay,
there,
good. So you're going to fill me in on all this stuff. But no, so aggregation kind of came up in your talks with our local commissioners, and then it's also being discussed in many of our other surrounding counties as well. So it's not just Jackson County.
Correct. Yep. Scioto County has it on the ballot. Gallia County as well. Meigs County, and there's a couple of municipalities. Portsmouth has it on the ballot. Roseville and Perry County.
Okay.
So that just in the local area here, that's what we have going on. And then programs that we run around here that are already up and going. Fairfield County. Which is obviously a couple north there, just south of Columbus. And then also Hocking County, we run the aggregation program in Hocking County as well.
Okay, very good.
Mm-hmm.
All those people that are loving the Hocking Hills.
Right.
Well, very, very cool. No, we were talking because he drove from Toledo this morning. So I said, well, at least the trees are on.
Beautiful.
It is absolutely gorgeous down here this time of the year. And especially this year, I don't know what's gone on with the weather, but the colors are super vibrant. So, we have reds and things like that we normally don't have. So that's a little plus for you to come down and hang with us today.
Yeah. Makes the drive a lot more bearable.
Yeah.
So, yep.
All right. So aggregation, what is the definition of aggregation?
Sure. So aggregation is the coming together of communities, whether it be villages, cities, townships, or counties, to form aggregated groups to go out and purchase, whether it be electric or natural gas. In this case, for Jackson County, we're talking about both of them.
Okay.
And so by creating these groups, you're going out with all the households in the county versus going out by yourself as an individual. And so you create purchasing power where you can get those better rates and obtain savings for the folks in the program.
Okay, and this is actually going to be on the ballot. So you will be voting. Well, not everybody.
Well, so this is for...
Who's going to be voting?
Yeah, sure. This is for the unincorporated portion of Jackson County. So this will be in the townships.
Okay.
It could very well happen in the municipalities as well. But the way that the law works, it has to go on in each ballot in each district there. So we have it on in the unincorporated portions.
Okay.
They would have to put it on in your cities and villages individually
Separately.
in order. Yep. And then it's something where if they did put it on and they passed, they could join the county's program as well to add to the group, but it still has to be passed. This current one is just with Jackson County and the unincorporated portions.
Okay. So like I live in Franklin Township. So you and I were talking about that off the air. And I said, oh, well, then this is going to be something that I vote on. And then we got to talking about different electric companies and all of that. So basically is this giving the people a voice as to what electric company they want to use, or how does this work exactly?
Sure. So if you happen to look at your bills, there's two portions to it. And I probably should mention beforehand. So we talked about, who would be eligible.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned you're on Buckeye Rural.
Yes.
So those folks on Buckeye Rural actually would not be eligible for the program.
Okay.
And that's just how the law is written. It has to be one of the publicly traded utilities. So on electric, it would be AEP. On gas, it would be Columbia Gas. So those folks wouldn't be included in the program, but you would still get to vote on it because it's for the unincorporated portion. And because it is an opt-out program, it has to be approved by a majority vote. So what we find is even though it might not benefit you, if you find out that it's a neighbor that you can help out, or again, your fellow residents in the county, a lot of people are apt to still say, oh, this is going to help. I want to vote for it and help those folks. And like I said, saving money, and again, big picture, if we can save money, we keep that money in the local economy here and kind of drive folks towards the county's restaurants and businesses that are here and spend locally. So.
Well, as a restaurateur, I would appreciate you keeping some money in the county.
Absolutely.
No. So, all right. So we will kind of dive into, I guess, why Buckeye Rural versus AEP. You said it's because it's not publicly traded.
Correct.
Which Buckeye Rural is a little bit different. It's a co-op.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's interesting because, and I don't know, like if you live in Columbus or, one of the big municipalities, Is AEP, I mean, do you have choices on who your electric?
For the provider, no, most of the time,
Okay.
if you're in the larger communities, you have a AAP.
You're told
or,
who your provider is.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So what happens is, so again, for those folks with AEP and Columbia Gas, if you happen to look at your bill, there's two portions to your bill.
Okay.
So the top portion is what's called the distribution charges. Those won't be affected by the aggregation program. That's regulated by the PUCO, the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio, and that's what you pay for the upkeep of the lines. So that's what you pay to have your linesmen if there's an outage. That portion goes to paying those folks.
You want to pay that.
Exactly. And so that, like I said, we don't touch that. Again, it's good to mention too that your bills are still going to come from AEP and they're still going to come from Columbia Gas. You don't get separate bills when this program happens. Okay. What happens is there's that second portion, the bottom part of your bill, and that's your generation, your supply charges. That's what we're shopping for with the aggregation programs. So what it is that's what you actually use in your house. So in electric, it's kilowatt hours. In gas, it's 100 cubic feet of gas.
Okay.
And so that portion has been deregulated since the early 2000s. And so right now, folks can go and shop on their own. As I mentioned, instead of going individually, we're going as a group. Well, folks can do individual shopping. And recently, you've probably seen a bigger uptick in people shopping because there was such a great increase from last summer to this summer. We went from about 5.5 cents a kilowatt hour up to over 11 cents per kilowatt hour.
See, again, I wasn't personally affected by it, so it didn't really set home with me. But I did have a lot of people say that and this isn't knocking anyone, I'm just saying a fact here, that their AEP bill went through the roof.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And that's due to the supply. So if you're not shopping, you get your power from AEP still, or Columbia Gas on the gas side. And what happened is they have a price to compare what they offer folks that are directly with the utility and not shopping their generation. And that price, as I mentioned, went from that 5.5 cent number up to over 11 cents per kilowatt hour.
It was a big deal.
We're talking $50, $60 a month increase. So I mean, it's a big deal, the increase there. So that's why, as I mentioned, we had 31 initiatives on the ballot. I think we have another 34 or 35 we're doing this fall. And that's because people are feeling this effect now of that increase. And so what aggregation does is it's a tool for citizens to use to obtain savings, to have kind of a safety net there.
Okay.
And get a fixed rate there. And if you like, I can kind of go through the steps for it, and then explain. That. And that way I can kind of hit on a couple more things there. And then if you have any questions, more than happy to answer those for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm sitting here thinking about all of I don't understand. It's AEP. How do you shop? You only have the choice of one thing. So how does all this work?
Yeah. So I'll
just let you tell everybody.
Well, I appreciate it. So as I mentioned, there's the two portions to your bill. So what we're shopping is that bottom portion. So you're still going to pay the distribution. And again, that you want to pay that because
you want to keep your power on, right? Yeah. Your line's good. And
exactly.
All that.
Yep. Yeah. And if you have, a tree fell on your line or whatever, that's why you pay that fee to have those folks come out.
So those really nice men in the big trucks come out and fix
the linesmen.
Your power.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep. So you can have your lights again, and if you have electric heat, make sure the heat comes back on when it's cold.
Which, by the way, they're all certifiably insane. They have to be to do that job. Oh my gosh, there's. I'll do all the respect in the world for that.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
They are,
absolutely.
But anyway, that's just a sidebar.
So basically, like I mentioned, so aggregation is the coming together of in this case, it'd be the county to go out and shop for a price on behalf of everyone together instead of going out individually. So the easiest way I kind of explain that to people is you go to the store and you buy a bottle of Coke, it's one price. If you buy a 6-pack of Coke, it's another price, but that unit price drops.
Sure.
12, 24, unit price continues to drop. That's kind of what we're doing. We're instead of going out for that individual bottle, we're trying to get as many bottles as possible to get that
like
purchasing
bulk at
power.
Sam's Club.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yep. So that's the idea behind it. Like I said, it's an effective way to obtain competitive rates and savings on behalf of the citizens. So the process for it, we've already started it. So the commissioners had to pass resolutions to put the aggregation initiatives on the ballot.
Okay.
And so we have an electric initiative and we have a natural gas initiative. So it's two separate ones that folks will be voting on.
So you'll have to vote twice on gas and
Correct.
electric.
There are different.
Okay.
Yep. So you could, if for some reason you just want to vote yes on electric and you want to vote no on gas, you can do that. Hopefully you say yes and yes, because again, this is to help people save money. But yeah, you have to vote separately on them. Again, that's how the law stated. There's two separate parts of the ORC, the Ohio Revised Code, that you have to have the two portions there. So we got those on the ballot, and that's because, again, this is an opt-out program, so it has to pass by majority vote. What do I mean by that is if this happens to pass, all those eligible people that would be eligible for the program would be enrolled in the program. And I'll kind of go over what's eligible and how that works there, too, when I go over the steps here.
Okay.
Because, again, a lot of information, confusing there. So
it is. And if you all have questions out there, be thinking them, and Dylan can ask.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. So we've already hit that step. Obviously, we're going to have these on the ballot come November, in a couple weeks here. And if you started early voting, you've already
voted on it or not.
Right. So we put that on there. It goes to vote. If it passes by a majority vote, then what we do is we'd have 2 public hearings, and that's required by state law.
Okay.
So again, that's where myself, Palmer, and the CCO assists the county. So I would help the commissioners run that meeting. And again, that just kind of goes over what's the next steps. Again, if folks have questions about it, you come to that, get those answered. Once we do the 2 public hearings, then we would get the commissioners certified with the PUCO. So they become the aggregators on behalf of the folks in the county.
Ooh, I'm an aggregator. That sounds cool.
So we go out, like I said, that takes a little bit of time to get them certified. And then once the commissioners are certified, we go out for requests for pricing. So we get a list from AEP, Columbia Gas, and it has all the folks that are in the county that are with AEP and with Columbia Gas.
Okay.
So then we at Palmer scrub the list for eligible customers. So what makes a customer eligible? So number one, as we mentioned, you do have to be with AEP or Columbia Gas for the programs. And again, that's just how the state law is written. So Buckeye wouldn't be included. And then also, I know there's some folks that have the city's utility that are in the unincorporated area. Unfortunately, those folks wouldn't be eligible for the program either. You'd still have the municipal power and get the bill there.
But there are some people that have electric at their homes but don't have Columbia Gas at their homes, or probably vice versa.
Yep. So it could affect you on the electric side and not the gas, or it could not affect you on the electric, and maybe it does affect you on the gas.
Okay. So it could be all or one or
right.
none.
Yep. Yeah, okay. And so those folks that are kind of like on the outlying area of the city might not be eligible for electric, but they could be eligible for gas.
Yeah. So here's funny. This is so Southern Ohio for you. My road. Half the road is AEP. The other half of the road is Buckeye Rural.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And like 2 doors down is the line.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah. So like some of my neighbors would obviously be affected, but not my end of the road.
Correct. Yeah. But I said,
there's no natural gas, I don't think, on my road. So.
Yeah. So then that wouldn't affect anybody.
That's wild.
Yeah. So it's a little bit kind of convoluted
for you.
Yeah. But like, as you mentioned, so you know that you have neighbors that have AEP. So
yeah, like just 2 doors down.
Right.
Literally.
So it wouldn't affect you, but you can save your neighbor's money. Well,
right.
Why wouldn't you vote for that? And again, 1, just to help your neighbor out, but 2, the big, overall picture is we're helping to save money in the county. So then therefore that can stay, we can keep that money in the county as well. So that's, the big picture there, but that's what we do. So we get the lists again. So you'd have to be with AEP or Columbia Gas.
Okay.
So if you're with Jackson City for your electric, or if you're with Buckeye, you wouldn't be included. And then if you don't have natural gas, or you're, I believe there's a co-op for gas in the county as well. And so if you're not with Columbia, you wouldn't be included in this program. And again, just to reiterate, this is for the unincorporated portions of the county. So those folks outside of the cities and the villages. So it would be for the rest of the county there.
Okay. So if you live in a township, This is what we're
You're
talking
going to see it
about.
on the ballot, and it will affect you.
Yeah.
And if it won't affect you, it'll affect a neighbor if you know that they have AEP or Columbia Gas
Yes.
there. So as I mentioned, so we go out for the request for pricing. We get lists back from AEP and Columbia Gas. Then we scrub the list for ineligible customers. So what would be an ineligible customer?
Okay.
If you're on the PIP program, which is the Percentage Income Payment Plan, you're receiving assistance from the government. And those folks aren't
Okay.
included in the program because you're getting a better deal with that government assistance than you would with the aggregation. So those people get scrubbed off the list, would not be included in the program.
Okay.
You stay with the PIP program because that makes
Because you're better off.
Correct. And that's what this whole thing's about, saving people money. So we're not just going to try to yank people out of a program that would be better for them.
Yeah.
So those folks get scrubbed off the list. And then also, as I mentioned, the electric generation, natural gas generation has been deregulated since the early 2000s. So folks can be shopping, and we're seeing more so now than we were in the past. There are a lot more people shopping because of that large increase we saw.
Why have we not heard of this before?
Aggregation?
Why have I not heard of this before?
It's a little bit tougher. So, folks, they get scared when they hear an opt-out program. They think that they're forced into
confusing.
Correct. And they think that they're going to be forced into this program. So that's the other thing that I always try to mention and harp on is, so when we go out for the request for pricing, it's included in that this will be an no early termination fee program. So nobody is forced to be in this program. If you want to get out of the program, you can get out at any time. And so, as I mentioned in the steps, I'll kind of go over when those opt-outs happen and everything like that. But that's where there's some concern. Some people, just kind of want to do their own thing. And again, you can still do your own thing. If you're out there shopping currently, again, that'll show up on the list, and we scrub those folks as well. So if you happen to have a third-party supplier, so if there's your Energy Harbors, your Constellations, your Santanas, your Dynagy's, there's several.
I was going to say, where do you even go to shop this
So
stuff?
if you want to, on the PUCO's website, there's an apples to apples page, and that has
That's a good way to put it.
There's suppliers on there where you could go sign up for yourself.
Really?
But
Okay.
I'll kind of mention this later, why the program makes sense and why. Again, if you like to do that, great, stay up on it. But there's reasons why the program is great, not just from a saving standpoint, but for me, the biggest reason is the peace of mind that the program provides. And like I said, I'll get to that towards the end when we get done with the steps here. So, but that's why you haven't heard of it. It wasn't as popular because, electric and gas, they're kind of, you weren't really you were saving money, but it wasn't a tremendous amount. Well, now if you were in a program, you would be saving a tremendous amount.
I was going to say, if a few months ago your electric bill doubled, then that gets your attention quick.
It's front of mind, and that's all over the state too. So it's it's not just happening in Southern Ohio. It's happening in Northern Ohio. It's happening in Central Ohio. So it's all over the state, and this is quite a tremendous increase. We haven't seen this before, so that's why now it's becoming kind of front of mind to everyone.
I would say it has been.
Yeah. So I mean, we've gone out and tried to drum up interest before, and it's sometimes you get some interest, sometimes you don't. We've put it on before where it's failed. Now we're getting calls back from people saying, "Hey, we remember you came out and talked to us. I think we want to put this on the ballot now," and we're seeing places where it didn't pass previously. It's passing because people are, unfortunately, they're feeling this increase here. So
because the way you get people to vote is when it personally affects them.
Correct. So that's it's not. I appreciate. Thank you again for having me on here to get the information out. But when you see your electric bill double, that's kind of the best advertising you can have for the program.
No doubt.
Hey, we need to do something. And this is, like I said, this is a tool for the citizens, another way to try to save money for the citizens in Jackson County.
Gotcha.
So anyhow, so we get the lists back. Like I said, we scrub. So the PIP customers.
So I get scrubbed.
You would, yes. But again, that's unfortunately, that's just how the state law is. And again, those folks that are already shopping, they already have a contract for the supply. They're scrubbed as well because there can be early termination fees associated with those contracts. So if we just yanked out your contract, you could be facing a $50, $100, $150, $200 early termination fee for getting out of your contract.
Well, what if you do want to do that? What if you don't want to be scrubbed?
Well, you have to get scrubbed initially, but that's the other great thing. So I mentioned there's no early termination fee to get out of the program. There's no fee to enter the program either. So you can opt in whenever you'd like to, too. So some folks have it where they don't have an early termination penalty on their current contract.
Gotcha.
They're still scrubbed because that's how it's written. And we have to take those folks out that are under contract.
Okay.
But if they, say you're with AEP Energy or you're with Energy Harbor, someone like that, and they tell you, yep, you don't have an early termination fee, what would happen is when those letters go out for the opt-out, you would just call the supplier and say, hey, I'd like to opt into Jackson County's program, and then they'd be able to get you into the program as well. And that's what, historically speaking, we usually see a lot more opt-ins than we do opt-outs.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
But so anyhow, so those folks are scrubbed, like I said, and that's required by the state law. We scrub the list of that. So then when we have the completed lists that have been, scrubbed of everyone that's not eligible, we send those out to the suppliers, and so we get bids back. We receive those at Palmer. What happens is then I would go in front of the commissioners and show our findings, show the bids, and make a recommendation. Again, we make a recommendation because this is the county's program. It's not the CCAO or Palmer's program. This is Jackson County's program. So the commissioners as aggregators.
Again, you're a consultant.
Correct. Independent energy consultant.
You do the work, and then they make the decision.
Right. We take care of kind of all the backroom stuff. So when the commissioners need to get certified to be aggregators with the PUCO, we take care of the paperwork, get that filed with the PUCO, make sure all that gets in. We bring, we're kind of the middleman. We bring the suppliers to the county, and then, like I said, we make the recommendation. If the commissioners like it, they say, yep, let's do it, Phil, or no, Phil, let's go with something else. So when we go out for that request for pricing, there's 3 sets of fixed terms. Usually it's a 12-month, a 24, or a 36. So a 1, a 2, or a 3-year contract. Okay. And then that price is fixed for that term. So it doesn't jump at all. If it's 6.5 cents or 5.5 cents, it's going to be that price for 12 months or 24 months or 36 months.
What would be the advantage to do 12 versus 36 then if you've got a fixed price?
It just depends on the market. So that's part of what we do at our job.
You get your crystal ball out and find out whether it was
little more scientific than that. Yeah, we go over the data, take a look at the markets and everything. Like I said, we've been doing this for over 20 years.
Okay.
We've been doing this. So, does 12 months make sense? Maybe. Most of the time we're seeing 24 to 36 months because, like you said, you want to lock in that price.
Yeah, kind of makes sense.
But again, there might be something in the market that we say, hey, you know what, let's just do the 12 months and we'll come back again. And that's the other good thing is we're going to go back out and go out for pricing before the term is up there.
That's because you're the consultant, right?
Right, exactly. So like I said, we bring the results back. Commissioners decide, yes, let's go with the recommendations, or no, let's go with whatever.
Okay.
So let's do that. So what would happen is then we'd set up a refresh date because the market changes daily, both in electric and natural gas. Mm-hmm. So on that refresh date, that's when we would sign the actual contract. So the commissioners would sign the contract. Boom, we have the price locked in for whatever that rate is.
Okay.
So what happens then, an opt-out letter is sent to all the eligible residents. So all those folks that were still on the list that didn't get scrubbed, you're going to receive a letter from the supplier, whoever won the request for pricing there.
Okay.
And on that, it'll say, there'll be a message from the county commissioners on there, but it'll say what the price is, what the term is, and obviously who the supplier is. If you'd like to be in the program, do nothing. You'll be included into the program. If you'd like to get out of the program for some reason, there's a slip on the bottom of that letter. You would fill that out, send it back in. They'll get you opted out. A lot of the suppliers have gotten up with the technology, so a lot of times now you can go to the website and they'll provide a 6 or a 9-digit code. You go to the website, punch in your code, click opt out. You can opt out of the program. That's a 21-day period when that letter goes out. So, people say, well, Phil, what happens? I was on vacation. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I thought it was another piece of junk mail. We're getting all these.
Yeah.
So
that can happen.
Not a big deal. If you miss that, you'll get a postcard from AEP if it's electric, or Columbia Gas if it's natural gas. And on there, it'll say you're making a switch to supplier XYZ, whoever won the bid for the program.
Okay.
And again, if you'd like to be part of it, do nothing. If you'd like to rescind the offer, send the postcard back in, and you can opt out of the program. Well, Phil, again, maybe I took a 2-month holiday or something like that. Or again, I missed the mail or something like that.
Good for you if you can do that, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Am I stuck in the program? No. You can, again, when we go out for those contracts, we make sure there's a provision for no early termination fee.
Okay.
So you can opt
Sure.
out at any time. You just contact the supplier and say, I don't want to be a part of the Jackson County program. Please take me out. They'll get you taken out. Now, again, vice versa. Well, Phil, I'm in a contract and, I do have an early termination fee. The county signed for 24 months. Well, mine's up in 6. My contract that I'm in is up in 6 months. Well, can I get into the county's program after the 6 months are up?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. You
Okay.
can join at any time. There is no fee. You can go back and forth. You want to opt in, and then you decide you want to opt out for some reason, and then you decide, I want to get back in. You can opt back in. There is no fee.
And
to
then where
opt
do you
out
go
to
to
opt
do
in.
all that?
It would be with the supply, whoever wins the RFP, and that information would be provided, number one, in the letter. 2, obviously the commissioners would have all this
Okay, so,
information as well.
Worst case scenario, you call the commissioner's
Right.
office and say, how in the heck do I get in
Right.
or out of this program?
Yep, and
Okay.
if you have other questions about it, and they don't know what the answer is, they have they have my information, they have Palmer's information.
Okay.
Then you would give us a call, and that's where we come in and we take a look at stuff like, well, Phil, I don't know if I'm in a contract. That's fine. Send over a bill to me. We could take a look at it. It's usually very simple stuff to get worked out there. And again, that's where we come in as the consultant. That's why the county and the commissioners are working with us, is because we're
that's
here
why
to
they-
assist.
Yeah, because they can
folks.
trust you to
Right.
do this stuff.
Right.
So you mentioned AEP Energy.
Mhm.
So is that some kind of offset of AEP in
Yeah,
general?
so it's the supply arm.
Because I think that's stuff like that is what confuses people.
Right. So yeah, AEP Energy is the supply arm of AEP. So they go out
Okay.
and they're the folks that want to sell you the what you're using, versus AEP, who is taking care of the lines and everything like that. So there's several suppliers out there,
Uh-huh.
IGS, Constellation, Energy Harbor. There's several suppliers out there.
So just so I kind of understand this, to wrap my head around it, because I'm
Mhm.
trying to think of like what people would be thinking of out there. So say you have a company like AEP, and we're just using that because that's who we have here.
Mhm.
So AEP is the company then that basically manages the electricity and takes
AEP's
care
the
of the lines.
utility. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they get electricity from all these other different places then, right?
Correct. Yeah. So it's the
Okay.
price to
I did not
compare.
know. I bet you didn't know that.
Yeah, the price to compare, that's put out for auction each year, and then so it's kind of the same thing. Suppliers bid on that, and then there's a price to compare, and there's different utilities throughout the state. So you have up north where I'm from, we have First Energy. So you have Toledo Edison, Ohio Edison. Those are utilities up there, and then you get to the central and southern Ohio here, and there's AEP. Then you also have Duke Energy, which is kind of southwest Cincinnati area there.
Okay. Yeah.
And then there's also, it used to be called DP&L, Dayton Power and Light, and now it's called AES, and that's kind of the Dayton area has a utility there too. So each of them have their own, it's called price to compare, standard service offer. That, like I
Gotcha.
said, if you're not shopping, they still are required to provide power for you, but their main thing and their focus is on the distribution as the utility, taking care of the lines, everything like that. The supply, you can go out and shop, and that's where, like I said,
Didn't know all
deregulated.
that, did you?
Yeah, and that's
I didn't.
Before I started working at Palmer, you pay the bill to keep the lights on, or
It
to
just
heat your
magically
house.
appears. You don't think about
You go,
it.
shoot, it's high because it's the summer this month.
Yeah.
And I didn't know there's tools out there for you to use to be able to save money. And the nice thing about the aggregation program, and kind of like I said, I have 3 things that kind of make sense to me on why this helps residents. Why would you put an aggregation program in place? Well, number one, you have the fixed rate. So that kind of it provides financial stability. You're able to do some budgeting with that, because
Absolutely.
if you're directly with AEP or Columbia, you'll notice that it's not a fixed rate. So in the wintertime you have a certain rate, then it spikes in the summer because that's where we see a lot of our usage, and then it kind of comes back in the winter, and you have that price. So with this, you'd have a fixed price, and that's the price throughout the entire year. It doesn't
Well, that
move.
would be really handy for people.
Yeah,
because
so-
you can like literally know
Right.
what your bill's probably going to be.
A lot of folks keep their bills to see, what did I use last June, or
Yeah.
so you have an idea. So then you can say, okay, I know, I'm going to use X amount of it's kilowatt hours for electric, and like I said, 100 cubic feet for gas. I know I used X amount of kilowatt hours or CCFs, and multiply that by the price that the program has there to kind of get the supply costs.
And the internet is a magical thing for things like this, because if you can go back, and if you have an online account through AEP or whomever, you can pull your past bills up and look. So
Right.
then you're going to know.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So
That
that,
is
like I
handy.
said, it makes it a little nicer, so you can kind of figure out a little bit more like, okay, yeah, so I know it's going to be X in June because this is how much I used last year. Just multiply it by the fixed rate that's now provided by the program, and you can kind of say, okay, this is kind of what I'm looking at the supply side, and how is this affecting my total bill, and be able to do that. So that's the first thing to me that makes sense why it's a good thing, the fixed price. Number two, and again, I can't harp on this enough, there is no early termination fee for the program.
Yes.
You can leave this program at any time. Nobody is stuck in this program. Again, you want to leave when it starts, you can. If 5 months later, for some reason, you say, heck, I don't want to be in the program, you can leave in 5 months. Whenever you want to leave, you can. And again, the great thing too is there's no fee to opt back into the program either. So it might take a billing cycle or so to get you in or out, but you're not stuck in this program. You do not have to be in this program. It is a choice. It's a tool for the citizens out there to again, help keep costs down, save some money. And then finally, the third thing to me that's to me is the most important is the peace of mind that the program provides. So as I mentioned, this is a fixed rate for whatever the term is, 12, 24, 36. Why that's a big deal to me is right now folks are probably having people knocking on their door. If not knocking on the door, people are calling them saying, hey, we can get you this great rate. I've seen text messages. People are getting text messages about changing.
And
so,
again, it's confusing.
Very confusing. And the problem is when those folks are telling you about it, usually they're giving you the hook. Well, what's the price? Oh, this is the price. And it looks like a great price, but they fail to mention to you, oh, that's an introductory rate.
Yeah, it's not
a 3-month
locked in.
rate. It's a 6-month rate. But you signed a 24-month contract. So your bill looks great for 3 or 6 months, and then boom, the 7th month or the 4th month, you look and you go, holy smokes. Well, they can charge you a market rate, it's called. So they can charge whatever they like. And unfortunately, you still have, however many months are left on that contract that you signed.
Is that when you get the call that says, I would like to talk to the person in charge of your electric bill?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what they're doing?
Yep. They're trying to get you to sign up for the supply portion. So
gotcha.
Like I said, it's a great job and it'll save you for 3 or 6 months, but unfortunately sometimes it's not mentioned that it's 3 or 6 months on it.
I hear you. Okay.
The other issue too that we find is that on the phone, and this affects a lot of the senior community, if they happen to get an account number for you while you're on the phone, that's as good enough as letting them sign you up for something. So you could just be talking. And like I said, if it's a senior who doesn't, get to interact very much with people, they get to talking, they're, it's great. Somebody's calling and talking to me. Well, the account number is given out. They're signed up for something. They get their bill next month. What is this? What is the price here?
And I've heard nightmare stories about that.
And the problem with that is, again, you can get out of it, but there's early termination fees associated. Right. 50, 100, 150, 200. I mean, and your bill could go from doubling or tripling in, the next month. So what this program provides is you know the exact details of everything that you're getting into. There is no early termination fee. You do not have to be in the program. The price is fixed, and it's fixed for whatever that term is, 12, 24, 36 months.
Okay.
And so, that's where you're going to have that, peace of mind where you're like, I know I'm in Jackson County's program. I know what the rate is. There's no funny business.
Phil's watching out for me.
Exactly. And if
the commissioners are.
Yep. And that's the other great thing too, is if you have questions, you can contact the commissioners. And again, if the commissioners don't have the answers, that's when they forward it on. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And, I enjoy helping folks. We want to save money, and that's, what we're here to do is to help provide a tool there. And so, and the savings, I mean, usually, so, I try to temper expectations. Usually you're talking about, $50 to $60 a year that you save, which, it's not bad, but it's also some people are like, well, it's not a lot of money. But if you would have had the program and locked in prior to this increase in the summer here, we're talking about hundreds.
A lot of money.
Yes. I mean, we've had some counties that were locked in prior to the increase. And so they were locked in under 5 cents, shot up to 11 cents. I mean, you're talking about almost $100 a month in savings there. So this is not only to help now, but it's also for the future as well. So the energy market's like every other market, it's cyclical. So, will it come back down? It's going to start to come back down. Probably not back to the 4 and 5 cents where we were before, but not the extremes of the 11 cents that we're at.
Look at interest rates, same thing.
Right. And so, it'll come back down, but at the same time, it'll go back up eventually too. So is this going to happen again? I can't get out my crystal ball and tell you, hey, we're going to see 11 or 12 cents again. No, but if it does happen, if this passes, this is a tool provided that will help. So you can have, like I mentioned, we've had counties that were locked in for under 5 cents. That price is locked in till the end of the year. So they've had a whole summer. And like I mentioned, the summer is when
that would be a relief.
exactly. And that we're talking real money at that point. And so, like I said, the program itself, it's going to save you money. Most of the time, it's like I said, the savings, $60, $70 a year, $50, $60 a year. Again, if I saw three $20 bills on the ground, all by my lonesome, I'm probably picking them up. And
I can think of a lot of things to do with $50 or $60.
Right. But again, the reason that this has become popular, like you said, you haven't heard of aggregation until now, is because that increase, if a program would have been in place, the savings would have been crazy. I mean, hundreds of dollars.
Super significant.
Yeah. And I think I ran through, we were looking at, commissioners have a flyer about the program. And yeah, like I said, normally $50, $60, but I mean, you're talking, $500, $600, $700 if the program was in place for this year. So again, temper expectations. That's not to be expected every year. You're not going to see hundreds of dollars in savings.
But this has been insane this year.
Correct. Yeah. And that's why this is another good program, is we're not only helping the present, but for the future as well, to make sure, hey, oh my gosh, I heard AEP's coming up. Well, that's okay. The county's locked in for another, 8-10 months.
Okay. We're
going to have savings for that. So, so like I said, the savings are great. Again, no early termination fees with the program. So you're not, that's a common misconception. You're not forced in the program. You can get out whenever you want to if you don't want to be. And
I think that's the main thing, is you have control over your destiny, right?
Right.
Like if for some reason you don't like this situation, just say you don't want to be in it anymore.
Right. Well, and like we were discussing previously, I mean, before I worked at Palmer, and you're talking about now, you're just trying to keep the lights on. And you're trying to keep your house heated.
You don't care how it gets there.
You have soccer practice, you have work, you have everything. You're going out to eat, you have different birthday parties and everything. What this does is you're allowing for the commissioners to go out and to provide a tool that will provide savings, and you don't have to worry about spending any of your precious time. All the work's being done for you, and all the information is going to be provided for you as well. So that's, like I said, kind of the big things there.
Is this residential and businesses?
Correct.
Too?
That's the other. Thank you for mentioning that. Okay. So small businesses are included as well.
Okay.
There is a threshold for small businesses. So for electric, if you are under 700,000 kilowatt hour usage annually, you would be included in the program, or you could join into the program if you'd like to. So that covers most of your restaurants, most of your office buildings, small mom and pop businesses, things like that.
But again, we're talking about townships, not
correct, in the unincorporated portion of the county, and with AEP or Columbia Gas.
Okay.
And on the gas side of things, the limit is 500 MCF, which would be 5,000 CCF, which is what Columbia Gas is in CCF. That's the threshold for small business on the gas side of things.
So, and again, do you guys scrub those people out that aren't eligible for
correct?
For that?
Yeah. So I mean, you could be like, if you have a restaurant or you have an office building, you might already be out there. Somebody contacted you. You said, okay, stop calling me. I'll sign this and do. Or you did your due diligence. You signed up for something. If you're in a contract, you'd be scrubbed off that list. So we're not going to pull you out of the contract because again, there could be early termination fees. But if you happen to look into it and you say, oh, we signed up, there is no early termination fee. This price is better than what we're getting right now. Heck yeah, we want to opt into the program. Very simple. You contact the supplier who won the request for pricing, and then you just need a bill handy because they're obviously going to need some information off of there to enroll you in the program.
Okay.
So yeah, it's pretty simple.
That's
stuff.
Worth checking into.
Yeah, absolutely. And so as I mentioned, it's a vehicle for savings. It's something. It's a tool, and that's kind of the commissioners keep mentioning it's a tool for folks. It's not. This is out there for your benefit. If you don't want to be a part of it, don't be a part of it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a part of the program. But like I said, historically speaking, usually we see more opt-ins than we do opt-outs, and that's because you go to church or you go to the local barbecue party, something like that, and somebody's talking about the county rate and. Someone goes, holy smokes, why am I paying what I'm paying? I want to get in that program.
What?
Yeah. So that's where we see an uptick in people coming into the program.
Okay.
So, and the other good thing too that I should mention about the peace of mind. So we talked about the introductory rate versus fixed for the entire time. That's one good reason. But the other thing too is if you happen to go out shopping yourself, that's great. You could sign and you could get a good deal. Maybe you got a 12 or a 24 month for fixed rate and there is no early termination fee and you like your rate. Well, the other issue is, well, it's on you when that contract is up to go and get another contract. They're not going to reach out to you to get re-signed up. So what happens is you can get hit with an auto renew rate. And so that, again, is this kind of the same thing as the market rate. They can charge you whatever they want. Now, the good thing is with the auto renew, you can get out of it, but you have to do your due diligence and say, I signed on October of 2023. I need to call back in October of 2025.
Which is hard to remember.
Right. So the good thing with the county's program is that's not going to happen. Okay. So we're going to go back out for pricing several months before the program's
You guys
up.
are on it.
Right. And if for some reason, the commissioners decide not to run the program again, or like I said, if the market, it doesn't make sense to continue the program, we say, hey, let's stop. We need to go back out in 6 months again for pricing. The state law has it where if it stops, everyone gets sent back to AEP, so you won't be on an auto renew rate there. Okay. So we're either going to be doing our due diligence and getting the contract done, or you will be sent back to utility if the program doesn't continue for some reason.
But regardless, it will be whatever's best for you all out there.
Correct. Yep. And like I mentioned,
trust your commissioners.
Exactly. Yep. So, and like I said, we provide, we do all the data, the research and everything like that. And we provide the numbers, but ultimately it's still up to the commissioners. It's Jackson County's program. It's not Palmer or the CCAO's program. It's Jackson County's. So.
All right. Very good. I'm really starting to understand all of this.
Great.
This is good. So as I'm sitting, Dylan, do we have any questions? No? Oh, okay. I'm surprised. We must be doing a good job then.
Hopefully, yeah.
So let's talk about the downside. Like, what are the negatives that you hear out there in the world?
Yeah. So that's what people always say. Well, what's the catch, Phil?
Because this all sounds too good to be true, right?
What's the catch, Phil? Yeah. Well, I'll give you some examples of what could be bet. So. Number one, and again, the reason that I keep harping the early termination fee is there's a common misconception out there that folks are going to be stuck in this program because it's an opt-out program. That is not the case. Once again, I know I've said it several times, but I really want to hit home with it. You do not have to be in this program. You can leave at any time. So that's a misconception, a perceived downside. That's not true. You can get out whenever you want to.
Okay.
What happens if, we lock in at a price and the market bottoms out? Could that happen? It could. I mean, again, we don't have the crystal ball. Well, again, that's where that no early termination fee comes into play. So if we, say we lock in at a 7-cent number and, we did it for 3 years, and in year 2, we still have, 12 or 10 months left in the program, all of a sudden the pricing goes down to, something drastic. Like, again, not saying this happened, but just for example, 3 or 4 cents.
Has that ever happened?
No, not really. I mean, we've had it where when we went out for pricing, it didn't make sense. And so we said, hey, everybody needs to go back to utility. Okay. Let's go back out again. No, again, what we saw this year, and on the positive side, that was kind of unprecedented there too. So, but again, if it happened the other way where we locked in and it went low, you can opt out of the program, go back to the utility, get the rate. If it's 4 cents and we're at 7, you go back and get 4 cents from AP. If you want to opt out and then go shop, you can do that too.
Okay.
So that's a downside. Well, Phil, what happens if the market bottoms out? That's the great thing about having that. Correct. Get out of the program, opt out, and I'm sure the commissioners would have information out about, hey, folks, the rates have changed. We're recommending that they can't take you out of it, but tell you, hey, you should get out of the program and go back to utility there.
Yeah, and I'm remembering now as Pete Wilson would come in and sit here where you're sitting today, and he's our news guy. And even talking about these rates, how much they went up, and kind of warning people like, this is legit, and you're going to get nailed with a really, really high electric bill.
Well, I believe at least AEP's CEO sent out a letter to each customer saying, hey, you're going to see there was some unforeseen circumstances. We had what was going on over in Europe and everything that kind of messed with the energy market. And so unfortunately, that's what caused the spike in rates, and it's legit, and people are seeing it now that it is legitimate.
But Pete Wilson could sit here on the other side and say, "Hey, just to let everybody know, they've gone down. Right? Maybe I'll opt out of the program here for a minute too. Right? So we'll let you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
commissioners will let you know.
Absolutely. So get the information out there. So I mean, that's really the two biggest things that we see are, people concerned about being stuck in the program. Again, I can't say it enough. You're not stuck in the program.
You have control over your destiny.
Again, the word we're using is it's a tool. It's a tool out there for folks to use, that it's at your disposal. If it this has to pass on the ballot, so it has to pass. But if it does, you have this tool available. You have this program where, like I said, if this happens again, where we see this unprecedented increase, we have something in place to where you're going to see significant savings, as opposed to you still get savings normally, but the regular savings that aren't up in the hundreds of dollars. So
okay. This is all making sense. I'm so proud of you. You got it through this thick head.
Well, you've been great. That's good questions, and that's the big thing too. Is if folks have questions prior to the election, please reach out to the commissioners. The commissioners have my information. They'll hook you up with me, and I can go through things with you. And if if you have questions about your current contract, or hey Phil, what's going to happen when this comes forward? You happen to miss, like I said, if it passes in the public hearing, you didn't you weren't able to get out there, give us a call. I'm more than happy. I mean, that's what we're here for. That's why we're the consultants, to provide information for folks and make sure this is,
sure.
And that's why, again, thank you for having me. Try to get out there and figure out, there's been a couple articles in the newspaper. I was just on the radio this morning and doing this. Like I said, we're just trying to figure out the best way to reach folks and let them know, hey, this is an opportunity, a tool for you to save money on your utilities, which, I mean, everything's going up these days. So if we can help save money somewhere, this can help your pocket. It's something to do that for you.
Absolutely. Wow. I think we did pretty well explaining this this morning, but it is very confusing, and I see where people would just say, I don't just put the wall up.
Right.
I don't want to hear it. I don't like change. Whatever.
Right.
Now, I think something that you said, and we just glossed over it earlier, is, and I could see people not liking this as well. Your bill will still look the same, right? Like it's
Correct.
still going to come from AEP or Columbia Gas. Like you can still log in on the internet, right, under your account and all of that. Like, and I think that would be concerning to people. It would be concerning to me. And like, where do I find my account?
Right. So, and that's a common misconception. So, Phil, supplier XYZ won the contract. Well, do I contact them if a tree branch knocks down my lines?
Like,
is it something like that?
Then I'm out of, I don't know who to contact.
Nope. And that's why, again, try to reiterate what we're looking at here. So that top portion is that distribution charge, and that's what you pay AEP to keep up the lines, and they're going to continue to keep up the lines. All that changes is if you happen to look, you can see it online, but if you get a paper bill, you can see it real easy as well. So distribution's on the top portion, and again, it's set by the PUCO. We're not touching that. But if you look, and it's usually in the bottom left corner, it'll have your usage, however many kilowatt hours, or again, cubic feet of 100 cubic feet of natural gas. And now you just see there's a charge there. It would say AEP and then charge next supply charge. With this, you would see, supplier XYZ, and then times whatever the rate is per kilowatt hour, and then it would have times the kilowatt hours, and then it would have your supply charge on there.
Okay.
So nothing's going to change with your bill. You don't have to worry about, am I getting two bills now? Do I have to pay my AEP bill, and then I have to pay my supplier bill?
These are all things that I'm thinking people are thinking out there, because that's what I would think.
Right. And that's, again, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is a common misconception too. Your bill's going to stay the same, except for that small portion where you'll have the price there. Okay.
And again, who cares how it gets there? Just
right.
As long as it doesn't affect you really in any way, then cool.
Well,
and then, saves you some money.
And that's a good thing to bring up too. So folks that are out there shopping currently, we talked about that. And you're saying, oh, heck, I need to find out, like, do I have an early termination fee? Because if this passes, I'd like to join the county's program.
That's a good question.
So where I mentioned you'd see the supplier, if you're shopping right now, you'll see that supplier there, and it usually has a number for the supplier there.
Oh.
You can simply call, and you'd say, hey, I'm Mr. Smith calling to see, am I in a contract currently? Am I in a contract? Am I month to month? And then also, I'd like to know, is there an early termination fee that would be charged for this contract?
Gotcha.
And they'll be able to get you all the information. Now,
are they going to give you grief about it?
They might tell you, well, we actually have this great rate coming up, and try to sell you another contract there. And again, perfectly fine if you want to do that, you can. But you can also say, no, thank you. I just want the information. please provide me with the information. And they'll be able to tell you exactly
Okay.
what it is. So you might get a little of a sell job there, but you can just simply tell them, no, thank you. I'd like to have my information. Could you please tell me about my contract? Or they can send you over the contract as well, usually. And so you can see,
That
like I
would
said,
be a good thing. So you had it in your hand.
right, yeah. So they'd be able to tell you, like I said, the big thing is the early termination fee, and then also if you're month to month or if you're in a fixed contract till they can tell you the expiration date as well on the contract. So
Gotcha. See, you ask and you shall receive.
right. And again, that's just simply, if you look at the bottom portion of your bill, you'll see the supplier, and there should be a phone number down there, 1-800
Listen.
number 1866 something.
Yeah.
Like that.
We've all been through this with, let's just be honest, cable companies and all of this stuff. This is nothing different than all of that, comparing dish companies or cable companies, or, they just creep your bill up and creep your bill up and creep your bill up. And then when you go to try to cancel, all of a sudden they have this miraculous rate.
Right. Exactly. So
where were you 6 months ago? And,
right.
So
right.
you just have to be your own advocate and just say, well, no, I'm going to take care of this myself.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, if you're one of those people, that's great. And some people enjoy doing that. They enjoy going out and getting the shopping for the race. Personally,
it's the hunt.
Yeah. Me personally, no, I have a lot of stuff going on. I'm on the road a lot. Please give me the best rate and let me know that it's fixed. And like I said, and if I want to get out, that I can't get out of it. And that's what this program will be able to provide is a fixed rate with no early termination fee. And again, you're going to know what the details are. And if you have questions, you can contact your local officials about that.
Yeah.
It's great.
All your commissioners.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You don't have to, reach out to the call center. You reach out to commissioners. If the commissioners don't know, then you'd reach out to me and be able to assist you with that. So be able to help understand the program and get things taken care of for you when it gets started. And we're here throughout the process too. We don't just start the program and then just leave. If you have questions during it, or like I mentioned, you might have a contract that ends into the county's program. We can get you set up, who you need to call, who to get set up with to get you into the program as well. So
very cool. And I just think it's information. So find out if you still don't understand what the heck we're talking about here today, call your commissioners.
Right.
And that's what they're there for, to represent you. And if you have questions, give them a ring.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, I imagine the paper will be covering election topics, so there'll be information on there. We've had it in the paper previously. And again, I know the commissioner's doing a good job, and the trustees as well. We had a trustee meeting, township trustees, so be able to get that information out there. And, if you happen to be on Facebook, there's, information on there. So again, just there's avenues to find out about it. So.
Absolutely. So if you see aggregation, this is what we're talking about today. Do you know what the ballot language says? So people will be like, oh, that's what that fellow on TV was talking about. What will it say? Something
pertaining to, shall the county commissioners be allowed to aggregate on behalf of the resident citizens of the county for electric purchasing or natural gas purchasing? Because
again,
it's
be
two
different
separate
ones.
Correct. Yep. So you'll have to vote on both of them separately. So yeah, it'll have the language on there. Shall the Jackson County Commissioners be allowed, or whatever the word is, to aggregate on behalf of the residents in order to purchase electric for electric purchasing in the county.
So if you say yes, then yes, and no, no.
Right. And again, this is something, if you have Buckeye, or you're with the city's municipal power, or on the gas side of things, if you don't have natural gas, or you're with the co-op or something else, you can still will vote, and hopefully it's something where you realize you're helping out a neighbor. It's something that, again, this tough times for folks everywhere, and to be able to save money, to help anybody and save money, that's a big deal. And like I said, I think from the big picture, it'll help everyone in the county as well to be able to keep that money here in the county and spend it on the local restaurants. Sure. And go to your local brewery.
No, I think that's great, and I think I'm glad you made that point one more time. People like me, it doesn't affect me at all, but I'm going to be voting on it because I live in a township.
Right.
So, I hope that we've kind of explained today how it will affect your neighbors, even if it doesn't affect you personally.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Think of your neighbors. Think of all the folks out there that may benefit from this.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, and I think the whole thing to me is you have an option.
Correct. It's a tool. Yep. If you don't want to be in the program, you don't have to be in the program.
You
There's
have
no
a
early termination.
choice.
Correct.
Very simple. You have
Exactly.
a choice. Is there, we have about 30 seconds left. Is there anything we didn't cover that you wanted to tell our viewers about?
No, I think, like I said, again, just try to, like we've done several times, hit home. No early termination fee. You're not stuck in this program. Again, it's a tool to provide savings, and the savings could be quite significant if something like this happens again. And it's going to be savings regardless. It just depends on how the market is, what kind of savings we're talking about. So,
okay. Well, very good. Well, Phil, thank you for spending the morning with us.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Palmer Energy, and have a beautiful drive back.
Thank you.
Toledo. So no, we thank you so much. And if you have anything else come up or think of any questions that people have asked you'd like us to pass along, please reach out and we'll be happy to pass along for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. We appreciate you, and we will be right back here tomorrow. So have a great day. Bye-bye.
This just in.
The Telegram News has a new website.
thetelegrammnews.com.
Same dedicated coverage.
Same trustworthy news with a brand new look.
Covering Jackson and Benton counties and surrounding areas.
Locally owned and operated, thetelegrammnews.com has its finger on the pulse of the community.
Stay up to date on local events, high school sports, and breaking news.
thetelegrammnews.com.
Subscribe today at thetelegrammnews.com.
Check it out.